the vision document for Maharaja Agrasen University in 2015. He has also completed many projects of MHRD and UGC as a coordinator and co-coordinator. At present, he is also delivering MOOCs as course coordinator in the subject of organizational behavior through Swayam portal. He is also holding a membership of various bodies and editorial boards of international journals. Himachal Pradesh Commerce and Management Association conferred Dr. Vishal Kumar with the award of HPCMA Young Researcher Award in the year 2016 for his outstanding contribution in the field of commerce and management. Till now, two scholars have completed their PhD under his valuable guidance, and eight scholars are also pursuing PhD at present. Now, setting the note for today's session, we know that this is an era when the COVID has impacted each and everyone. It means it has impacted the education industry also. So during this pandemic period, education has changed dramatically, whereby teaching is undertaken on digital platform. With this sudden shift from classroom to the digital platform, some people are wondering whether the adoption of online teaching pedagogies will continue to persist post-pandemic and how such shift will impact the education industry. So that is the biggest question. There are few people, few researchers who believe that such an unplanned and rapid move to the online learning with no training, with insufficient bandwidth and little preparation will result in poor user experience, which is unconducive for sustainable growth. Whereas there are few thinkers who feel that it will lead to emergence of a novel hybrid model of education. While we are following these online education pedagogies tools, but there are few challenges also along with this. The challenge is in the absence of internet access and technology struggle, how students will be able to gain and how teachers will be able to deliver. So now, with today's session, we will be able to find answer to the questions like, is shift to online learning a catalyst to create a new and more effective mode of educating the students? So, during this session, Dr. Vishal Kumar will be discussing with us so many modes of online education. Sir, today we have till now 124 participants from so many colleges and students from different states also. And this is a humble request to the participants also to keep their audio video on mute mode for the time being. And today's session is going to be interactive one. Because the last day when I talked to Dr. Vishal Kumar, sir said that it will not be one-way session, it will be two-way. So now I am handing over the podium to you, sir, Dr. Vishal Kumar. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of Shri Aurobindo College and all the participants. Over to you, sir.
Right. Thank you very much for your kind words, Madam Marinal Gupta. A very good morning to one and all. First of all, I am thankful to Dr. Ajay Sharma, Principal, Shri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management, Ludhiana, for giving me the opportunity to interact with such a wonderful audience. Today's session, specially dedicated to students, keeping in consideration their aspirations and expectations from the academia during this tough time. We have seen a noticeable incremental interest of the students to explore new frontiers of online education since the announcement of lockdown due to pandemic of COVID-19. Before moving further, I would like to discuss some key points with my students because I already explained today's session is dedicated to students. My presentation is a blend of theoretical knowledge along with activities to know your response. So time to time, I will be sharing with you some links to your chat box, and you will have to give your response in the form of a written statement or sometime the polling also, right? So everyone must identify the chat box on your screen. So please identify the chat box on your screen. Okay. So let's kickstart the session. I'm sharing my screen. I hope everybody able to see my presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's great. That's great. So today's session is focused on exploring new frontiers of online education, right? So the session will be focused on changing trends of education, how to select the online course, shifts in focus during this time, significance of online education, and last, we will discuss about the MOOCs, right? So education in 21st century is about to evolve, but fundamentally, why? Because almost everything we know about education is up for grabs. The way it is designed, managed, funded, and even delivered. Around the world, day and night efforts at education reforms are already underway. And these changes are taking place, I'm telling you, in internet time. This is the new education economy, and you all can say that the global education economy. So let's discuss now the changing trends of education. Social, technological, and economic drivers are transforming the education system around the world. The reasons for these changing trends are globalization of business, knowledge based economy, lack of skills, and social and demographic changes. So, no doubt, all these trends are causing a paradigm shift in the education sector and creating demand for e learning and online education. So, before moving further, let us have some brainstorming session, a warm up activity, right? So just think, I will be giving you two situations and you will have to think about these two scenarios, right? So scenario one is consider a class in the 20th century. How do you imagine it? So we all know very well in the 20th century, so there was no mode of communication. Access of information was very difficult, right? the the libraries were not as today we are seeing, and the resources were very limited. So I'm just giving you clue, right? And scenario 2 is now consider a class in the 21st century. Just imagine it. You think and post one key difference between the two scenarios. I'm giving you students 2 minutes to think of, and I will be sharing with you my Padlet, and the link is bit.ly/vk underscore warmup. I'm sharing with the link in the chat box also. So I have shared this link in the chat box, and you just click the link, giving you 2 minutes to think and write your answer. Then I will be showing you what answers you have replied. But before pursuing this, please write your name first and give the reply. Fine. So your time starts now.
Can you please repaste the link because this we cannot click on this.
I repeat the question. I have given you two scenarios. Scenario one was consider a class in the 20th century. How do you imagine it? And consider a class in the 21st century. Just imagine it. So on the basis of these two, you decide only one difference between the two scenario, right? And post your reply. I will be showing you my Padlet after 1 minute. 1 minute already gone. Yeah, your time is up now. So let's see how many students have given the answer. Yeah, that's great. Are you able to see my screen? Everybody, please. So, hello. I hope everybody able to see my screen.
Uh, Not right. अभी
Not
नहीं sir.
my screen is not visible to you.
अभी नहीं है sir.
अभी नहीं है.
Actually, someone else is presenting.
Presenting. Manu Bandesha.
Please ask them
Manu
to
Bandesha.
switch off the screen.
Yeah.
So Vijay ji,
Manu,
just give me the co-host, and so that nobody can present the screen.
now you can present your screen, sir.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen now?
Uh, Sir, अभी नहीं.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's fine. That's fine. Are you able to see your Padlet? My Padlet board?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So what a wonderful response I have got from the students. So Ishita said, respected sir, there is a big difference between the centuries of learning method and technology. That's right, Ishita. And Anjani Bhalla said access to all means of information and not just books. Very right, brilliant. Dalpreet Singh said limited time, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lack of technology. That's great. Pooja said we have moved from teacher centric to student centric. So that's really a very good answer. Drishti says in 20th century the resources of the information are less as compared to 21st century. As in 22nd century people are seeking help from the internet stuff, but in earlier days less amount of people know this. So that's a really great response from the student side. But my purpose was only to show you that the online education, the online learning, the e-learning has changed the times, drastically. So when I'm teaching in a classroom, it is very difficult for me to collect the responses from 135 or 40 students and paste it on the blackboard. But now I can easily access the information given by you students, and this information is visible to everyone. And even you can edit your comments, you can edit your statement thereafter also. So this is, the radical changes have been taken place in the current time, right? So moving further, so all these things, the change the role of learning from push to pull. So what is, push learning? So push learning is based on it is instructor centric learning. Push learning is an instructor centric approach of teaching, which is a traditional way of learning. In push mode, you passively wait for the information to reach you, whereas the pull learning allows students to tailor their learning experience to their own needs based on job roles, personal knowledge, and career interest. Nowadays, many students earn while learn, so they can explore self-paced courses and also get the help of their peer group by participating in the discussion forums. So you can easily differentiate between the two approaches, pull approach and push approach. And in case of pull approach, in case of push model, you can see that the source of information is only one, and rest of the people, they are just accepting the information. For example, if I am a teacher, if I will not go to the class, right? I'm sick, or due to some other urgency of work, I cannot go to the class. My students will, they will just wait for me, and they would not be able to access the information through me, right? In case of pull technology, or in case of pull learning methodology, it is a learner centric approach. In learner centric approach, you can see that the learner have the access of information from various sources. He is not restricted to the classroom only. He is not restricted to the one instructor only. He can download various tools. He can join the self-paced courses. He can get the help of some resources from the internet, and knowledge management database he can access. Virtual classroom he would able to join. Third party softwares he would be able to use. Peer to peer discussion through discussion forums, and he or she can easily get the mentor through this mode. So this shift ultimately think about what is on ultimately induce us to think about what is online course. Online course is not simply a traditional face-to-face course replicated on a computer screen, as in case of push learning methodology. An online course is based upon course goals and learning outcomes, right? The key difference is that students do not need to depend on face-to-face interaction as in the push learning methodology, and computer communication and feedback is highly important. Like I am delivering a lecture, so I am a means of communication from one side, and your feedback is also very, very important, right? Now the question arises how to select the online courses, because nowadays there are number of online courses given by the virtual universities, right? So the course should be student centric. Student centric means we should always select the course according to the pace of, we should always provide the course according to the pace of the students, or the student should decide about to pursue the course which are student centric. Learning should be collaborative in nature. So what does it mean? Learning should be collaborative in nature means it is the joint effort of the instructor who is teaching and the student, and due to discussion forum the students and teacher, they both can share their views, and this collaborative nature of effort will ultimately lead to a student a wonderful professional. The course should maximize participation flexibility and should be self-paced. So flexibility in terms of many students, they learn while they earn, right? So they do jobs, like they do jobs nowadays, like Swiggy and Zomato. Many students, they do part-time jobs, right? So they cannot go to the colleges or universities, and they can join the online courses, and due to their involvement in their jobs, they can select the course according to their need based course, and these courses are self paced course. Whenever the student think fit, he can access the information, he can access the knowledge depending upon the availability of the time, right? So courses should provide faster information communication, collaboration and team building skills through discussion forums, etc. And course format, expectations and instructions should be clear and concise. Activities and assessments should account for different learning styles. Like I have also incorporated certain activities in my presentation in order to attain your right attention. So let's move on to next activity. How many of you are enrolled in online course? I will be getting the answer from your side in yes or no. So I'm repeating my question. How many of you are enrolled in online course? So again, I will be sharing with you one link in your chat box, or you can just type on your mobile or laptop. It is very simple: bit.ly/vk underscore activity. So by clicking this link, you will ultimately able to provide your reply in yes or no. Please try it. So I have shared the link in your chat box. The students who are not able to access, so they can just click this link and give your poll. So again, I am giving you 2 minutes. I will be pause and you just reply your answer. It is only in yes or no. Because there are 124 or 25 students, and it is not able to see who answer yes or who answer no. So that will be easy for me if you will write on the link which I have shared with you. So that's great. Students have given the answer. How many of you are enrolled in online course? Everybody is able to see my screen? Please reply.
Yes, sir.
Very nice, very nice. So 39 students said that yes, you have enrolled in online course, and 25 students said they have not yet enrolled in online course. Right. So this is a great, because the majority of the students have enrolled in online courses, and some of the students or faculty members, they could not answer. Maybe their link is not working, or they are taking some time, right? So it's a real time, and when you are replying your answer, whether in yes or no, my graph will automatically move on. So are you able to see my graph?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
this graph is based on real time, and on the basis of your reply, so the picture, it is growing, right? So moving on the next one. So, as you said, most of the students have joined online courses, and some of the students, they have not yet joined, but they want to join. So, all this makes a shift in focus. What that shift? From teaching to learning. That is a drastic change which we have seen. Learning how to learn. That's a very important point. Learning how to learn. Most of the people, most of the students, even sometimes the faculty members, they don't know how to learn. So learning is a technique, learning is an art. So you must know how to learn, and shifting the responsibility for learning from institution and teachers to individual learners, right? You are not restricted to one place, one teacher, and you are amongst the, the people at global level, and technology playing a wonderful role, and ultimately you are able to become the entrepreneurial learner. So this change in delivery mode, we have seen this change in delivery mode. So how does it come? So you are able to see my screen, and which clearly shows that the change of shift from bricks to clicks. So what does it mean? What is bricks? Bricks means the classroom. Bricks means the college or university or institution or your home. Now you are not restricted to your classroom, you are not restricted to one instructor, and the delivery mode is changed to click. So click means all the information is at your disposal. Whenever you want to access the information, whenever you want to see the video of any instructor, you can easily enroll in the course, and you can able to access the information. So how does it come possible, or what is the reason for the change of shift from bricks to clicks? It is because of the growing student population, increase in the tuition fee, and some of the people, they are not able to pay the higher fees of the institutions, and the lack of facilities and funding, because we have seen in certain state universities which are not able to generate the resources and able to provide the facilities to their students. But here in case of Crick, you are able to find more virtual universities, more than 9,000 universities, and it is a very, cost effective solution. Many of the courses from Harvard University or from Stanford University, these courses are, they are offering the courses at a very minimal cost, only a cost of 1,000 or 2,000 rupees, and you are able to access the courses of the Harvard University. Some of the courses from the California universities are totally free. Through Coursera, they are providing. So this autonomy of education, this free online courses are creating the demand for online education. Now, I would throw light the significance of online education, right? So in this learning environment, what is the most important thing? The most important thing is teaching and learning is one to one, right? You are sitting at any part of the world, but you will always imagine your teacher is in front of you, and you can easily communicate with that teacher and able to have the information you require. More interactive sessions. For example, I am sitting at Chandigarh, and some of the people from even Delhi, from Mumbai, from Ludhiana, or many parts of, or Firozpur, or many part of the India. You people are able to see me. You people are able to interact with me. So thanks to the technology, right? So learner centric. Some of the students, or I don't know, the faculty member who wrote on my Padlet that the approach in 21st century is changed. So it is a learner centric approach. We have to move on according to the interest of the students. We have to design the courses according to the interest of the students. We have to inculcate the best of the education, keeping in mind the need of the students, right? And monitoring and grading system is very simple. In some of the foreign universities, they give the grading on the basis of the quiz. They give the grading on the basis of the project which you will submit at the end of the completion of the course. So the criteria of assessing you people differ from university to university, differ from place to place. Second main significance is convenient. How convenient? It's a self-service course. Self-service course, what does it mean? Self-service means whenever you want to explore any course, you will definitely go to the Google or any other browser, find your course, and one course and name of, if you want to, for example, pursue the course in the financial management, the financial management course may be offered by a number of universities. So what is the next step? You will find your course, then mix and match. You will compare the syllabus of Harvard University. You can compare the syllabus of the California University. You can compare the syllabus of the McGill University, and then you would be able to draw the conclusion which university is providing you the best content, and on the basis of this you will enroll yourself. Now the second thing is anytime, anywhere. So that is the most important thing. Time is not limited. You can access the information 24 into 7 anytime. And it's a private learning. Private learning means you can alone sit and learn the things and then share with your peer group. And these are self-paced courses. I already discussed in my previous slides. These courses are self-paced courses. Self-paced courses are those courses which are depending upon the need of the students, the time constraints of the students, the availability of the students, and flexible also. Flexible also means if you are not able to submit your assignment today, you can submit it tomorrow. If you are not able to learn what you have seen on your screen today, so you can again repeat that next day and then again learn. So it is very convenient. So whenever you want to join any course, the most important thing for all of us is cost. So every student want the course which is cost effective. Virtual learning environment giving us the courses which reduce our material cost. And now what is the material cost? You need not to buy the books, because if you want to buy the books, you will have to spend a lot of money. For example, if you buy the foreign authors book, and you will have to go to many other places, commutation cost is also involved, transportation cost is also involved, and when you bought, for example, 4 or 5 books or 10 books, so it may cost 10,000 more bucks. So sometimes it is not affordable to everyone. So it reduce your travel and accommodation cost also. It reduce your material cost also. Consistent. So consistent here means the equity of having the information. Information is in open access. You just have to enroll the course, and then the same quality of content will be provided to everyone. The same quality of education will be provided to everyone, and the central control of the content. So once the content is designed by the university, once the content is designed by the instructor, once the content is provided by the content writer to the university, so it can be easily accessible for a student like you and me, right? And it is very consistent. It is not like that you are able to see the content today and tomorrow you will not able to find the content. So you would be, very much, it is very much convenient to access your content. So media rich. So we all know that when we will have the sessions which are enabled with audio visual aids, it always attracts our attention, right? So because nowadays it's a digital world, it's a 21st century, and we all able to access those courses which ultimately impress us, right? So sometime we go to the we go to the theater and to see the movie, and sometime the numbering, the starting of the movie is like, so it impressed us and we may long till the end. So easy to understand and more engaging. So media rich courses are able to understand and more engaging, repeatable. As I already told you, these courses are repeatable. For example, if today I am not able to understand the concept, tomorrow again I can repeat that. I can repeat that video. I can again download that content. I can again read that content, so that I would be able to understand the basic fundamental concept involved in that particular content. And most important thing is these courses, in these courses, you can easily monitor your progress. You can self monitor your progress, right? Because less administrative work can be more precise. There is no need to most of the universities in the foreign, I am just talking about in foreign context right now. I will be discussing the Indian context later on. Most of the foreign universities, they just give the passing certificate to student by qualifying the quiz or by qualifying the projects, or sometime just submitting the projects, or sometime few deliberations are required. So these are, easy to these courses, in these courses you are easy to monitor the, you are able to monitor the progress. Now the next question is how to explore new frontiers of the e-learning. So from your polling, I have come to know that most of the students who are attending this session, they have enrolled in online courses. So if they have enrolled in online courses, they might be knowing about these websites. So these are all, very renowned websites where you can access the online courses. Coursera, Udacity, Udemy, edX, these are all foreign platforms which provides the online courses. Many of the foreign universities are part of the Coursera, Udacity, Udemy, and edX, and whatever the courses you will qualify from them, and you will get the certificate of eligibility. And these are EPG Pathshala, NPTEL, and Swayam. These are Indian platforms. I'm telling you, students, in the year 2014, I got the opportunity to be a part of the very first national mission of education under ICT project. The government of India initiated EPG Pathshala. So EPG Pathshala was the first initiative of the government of India, where 22,000 plus e-modules, even the minister HRD nowadays, due to pandemic situation in our country, he has been sharing from his tweet many of the links for UG students, for NCRT students, for CBSE students, and for PG students, so that we would be able to access the information by sitting at home. So I was telling you, EPG Pathshala was the first project of the government of India, and I got the they had selected at that time many good professors from all over India, and I was privileged to be a part of that project. I contributed in two papers. Paper one was entrepreneurship development and project management. It was consisting of the 40 modules, and I was the coordinator of that project. And then the another paper was international business operations, and I was also the co-coordinator in that project, right? So I contributed, I developed the curriculum, and I also contributed about 67 modules under that project. So that was the first initiative of the government of India. And due to the lack of online education knowledge, students, they were not able to access this free content developed by the very good professors from all over India. So I'm good to see this slide, because it was my first recording at that time when I recorded the module under the paper entrepreneurship development and project management. So I'm taking a pause for a while. Yeah. So moving towards from EPG Pathshala to MOOCs. So MOOCs, it is the dire need of today. A different educational space, as I have written on my slide. The massive open online courses means, massive means large enrollment numbers. Open means no mandatory qualification. There is no eligibility criteria that you must be passed +2, you must be passed BCom or BA or BSc. You must not be confined to only one place. Online information is available at everywhere, and course is a structured course by the government of India. MOOCs is an online course aimed at unlimited participation and open access via the web. And the basic philosophy of MOOCs is 3A. 3A means anytime, anywhere, and anyone can access the information. Actually, MOOCs in general, MOOCs means massive open online course, and I have not yet described it from the Indian context. So MOOCs doesn't means Indian MOOCs. Indian MOOCs is something different, and whatever the course is, by qualifying the course, after the course, if you are getting the certificate from that university, so that is also called the MOOCs. So many of the websites which I have discussed in my previous slides, whether it is Coursera or it is edX or Udacity or Udemy, they are all international platforms. And in MOOCs are open to everyone. There is no mandatory qualification, as I described, having no fees for study. Almost the courses offered through MOOCs, these courses are free of cost, have enrollments at start and learners at the end. When we join the course, we were just the students, and when we complete the course, we become the learner. And have learners who are not students of universities are fully online. I'm describing my previous point. Have learners who are not students of the universities. So it is not mandatory that you should be the student of this and that university. You can join the course from any part of the world, right? These are fully online courses and very lightly tutored and supported, do not offer assessment, have low study hours per week, basis upon your need on modules, not degree programs, offer certificates of completion, and then credits will be transferred. Not everywhere, but I will discuss where. are a different educational space in higher education, right? So in India, as I discussed, EPG Pathshala was the first initiative of the government of India, and after that, government started taking the initiative in MOOCs. So in India, under the MOOCs umbrella, these are the organizations, whether the educational or non-educational or technical, which are providing the role as national coordinators. So they generally encourage the universities or colleges or instructors to develop the e-content and then provide with the help of the platform, which I will be discussing on my next slide. So these national coordinators are University Grant Commission. So University Grant Commission and CEC, Consortium of the Educational Council, they are responsible for non-technology postgraduate programs. NPTEL, they are responsible for developing the technical engineering UG and PG degree programs. IGNOU, NCRT, NICE, IIM Bangalore, and NITR. So these all organizations providing a marvelous contribution, providing a wonderful role while inculcating the knowledge with the help of MOOCs in India. Now, before moving further, it is my question to my dear students who are listening me very patiently, very carefully. I'm really grateful to all of you. What is your MOOC experience? What is, I repeat the question, then again, I would have the poll from your side. I will be sharing one link and you will have to select one answer from this question, right? So what is your experience from MOOCs? The answers are, I have not heard about the MOOCs. The second option is, heard of MOOCs, but not believe in them. Third option is, been a learner in a MOOC. And fourth and last option is, earned a certificate as a learner in a MOOC. So I'm again sharing with you my Mentimeter. The link is bit.ly underscore vk slash vk underscore activity 2. I repeat, bit.ly slash vk underscore activity 2. So by clicking the link, you would be able to provide me your answer. So I'm just giving you 2 minutes and take the rest for 2 minutes. And again, I will be come back and discuss what answers, what reply you have given to me. Yeah. So I will be sharing in your chat box the link also. So I have shared the link in your chat box and you can reply. You can reply by clicking the link.
So can you send the link again?
Okay. Just wait. Are you able to see it?
सर क्वेश्चन रिपीट करना एक मिनट.
Just wait. So I'm sharing with you the question again. The question was, I'm asking you, what is your MOOC experience? And you will provide me the answer, I have not heard about MOOCs. This is first option. The second option is heard of MOOCs but not believe in them. Third option is been a learner in a MOOC, and fourth and the last option is earned a certificate as a learner in a MOOC. Is it fine? I hope everybody understand now. So you are seeing the uh, uh, link of the activity. So you just click the link and immediately you would be able to, otherwise barcode is there, you can just scan the barcode, immediately you will direct to the site. So I'm waiting for your responses, right? Already 1 minute gone. Wow, that's great. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Very nice, very nice. So you can see that when your teacher is well acquainted with the knowledge of online softwares, online tools, they would attain, they would, engage you. They would seek you. Every teacher seek the attention of his or her learner, right? So these all tools will help to provide students a real-time knowledge. Now you all are easily, you all can easily see that 36 participants. I know most of the 70 now, the number has been increased. Last time 67 students answered. Now this time 75 students participated in the poll, or I'm expecting the number will increase in the next activity. So not heard about MOOCs. Very, this very true. Most of the students, they are not aware about what is MOOCs. So I will be describing you during my next slides what is MOOCs. So 36 students, or you can say 50% out of this poll, or the number is increasing. They described that they have not heard about MOOCs. So some of the students, they are just sharing that heard of MOOCs but not believe in them. So that is hardly makes any problem, because I will convince you, and at the end of the session I am sure that you will believe in them. And 20 students out of 76, they told me that been a learner in a MOOC means they started some course, uh, enrolled in the course, and then did not get the certificate or attend the classes of the instructor for some time and then left the course. It is sometime happening. I have seen that, and very nice. I am really a big round of applause for 9 students who are sharing with me the information that earned a certificate as a learner in a MOOC. That's really great. That's really great. Very good audience. So let's take away from your answers. Uh, I'm telling you, we need to learn to adopt and adapt MOOCs. I'm repeating my sentence. We need to learn to adopt and adapt MOOCs. If you are still in options, not heard about MOOCs or heard of MOOCs but don't believe in it, you are in danger of becoming redundant. You are in danger of becoming replaceable, because nowadays I have already explained to you, we are entering into the knowledge economy. We are entering into the knowledge economy. We have seen already during the lockdown, uh, 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 the situation which we are seeing during the lockdown or during the COVID-19. It is it is such a situation never experienced by anyone. So we did not have so many manufacturers of making the mask, N95 mask and PPE kit, but nowadays, Indians are so innovative. Believe me, Indians are very hard worker. That now India is exporting PPE kit. India is exporting N95 mask. So we are, wonderful people. I'm telling you, we are Indians, right? So I'm telling you, students, if you are still in option 1 and 2, you are in danger becoming redundant, and you are to update yourself, right? So tell me one more thing, what is your learning style? So this is another question. What is your learning style? So I means you prefer lectures based on a textbook, lectures based on a textbook. Second option is lectures with examples. Third option is lectures with demos and videos. Fourth option is answering teacher and adapting their instruction. And the last option is facilitative active learning. I repeat the question again so that everybody should understand it. What is your learning style? So I prefer lectures based on textbook, lectures with examples, lectures with demos and videos, answering teacher and adapting instructions, facilitative active learning. So again, you have to give me your answer while polling and selecting the question answer. So again, I'm sharing you my link, that is bit.ly/vk underscore activity 3. I repeat, bit.ly underscore vk /vk underscore activities 3. I'm sharing with you this link in your chat box. So please see, I have shared this link bit.ly/vk underscore activity 3 so that you would be able to give me your response. So I'm giving you 2 minutes and waiting for your response, right? So just check how many people are responding. Wow, that's great. That's great. I really appreciate your involvement in the session. I'm really grateful to all of you that you are responding very well. And within a period of, I have just started the lecture at 11 a.m. and it is just 12 p.m. And within a duration of 1 hour, you people are responding such a magnificent way that I really appreciate you. So 37, just wait.
Is a previous activity.
Yeah. So it is what is your learning style? Very nice, very nice. Nobody is interested in first option, lectures based on a textbook, right? So nobody is interested. The teachers who are also enrolled in this session, please, it is point to be noted for them. Lectures based on a textbook, nobody is interested to listen us. We all are teachers. It's alarming situation for all of us, right? So second option is lecturing with examples. So those teachers who are using the textbooks, but also with also getting the help of the examples, they are somehow acceptable to their students. And the third category, which is a very tall category in the bars, lectures with showing demos and videos. It means students are perceptive nowadays. They are looking for new styles. They are looking for new styles of learning. And the another category is replying answers to teachers, adapting his instructions. So there are some kind of students who are replying to answers. It means teacher is asking a question, and how she or he is asking a question during their lecture, maybe in the beginning, maybe during the lecture, or maybe at the end of the lecture. And last option was facilitative active learning. So facilitative active learning means you will be provided a facilitator for active learning, right? So thanks for responding so well, really appreciable. So I'm showing you one picture which I have downloaded a couple of days back from the internet, and I thought I should incorporate this picture in my presentation also. You can see here that a person is searching or exploring the new destinations for online courses of MOOCs, right? So he has a very long way to go to reach his destination, right? So he started from here and he has to reach at his destination, and during the passage he has the number of options. He has a number of options. How? Coursera is there, Udacity is there, edX is there, Swayam is there. And how he would be able to assess which platform is best for him to pursue online course or MOOCs course. Because I have already explained to you, there are many virtual universities nowadays, right? And selecting a course, and especially selecting a platform, is not an easy task, right? So have you heard the term Swayam? Have you heard the term Swayam? Please, you can unmute yourself and say yes or no. No problem to me. Have you heard the term Swayam?
Yes, sir.
Yes. No, sir.
No, sir.
No problem. No problem. No problem.
No, sir.
So what is no problem? Thanks. Thanks. Unmute, please. Swayam stands for Study Webs of Active Learning for Young Aspiring Minds. Study webs of active learning for young aspiring minds. It is an Indian MOOCs, right? It is an Indian MOOCs. It is an Indian massive open-line courses platform, and which started with the help of the initiative of Digital India, launched by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India, and covered almost all the areas of education, advanced education, high school, and skill enhanced courses, right? So why Swayam? As I have already discussed that for exploring the new frontiers of the knowledge, you have a lot of means. You have Coursera, you have Udacity, you have edX, and you have many others, right? So why we should prefer Swayam? So if you will see the salient features of these MOOCs or these online courses, the first five are same for Udacity, first five are same for edX, first five are same for Coursera and other websites. But if you will focus on number 6, that is the distinction. Proctored exam in more than 100 plus cities in all over India with the help of pen and paper. Are you able to understand me? If you will join MOOCs on Swayam platform, you would be able to appear in the exam just like any other normal exam. In 100 plus cities, centers are available, and credit transfer facility after qualifying the exam. So what does it mean? Nowadays, I'm just telling you, as per the UGC guidelines, 20% of the courses any university can provide through online mode, through MOOCs. Nowadays, the Minister of HRD again and again tweeting that the students should come at Swayam platform and join the online courses. What is the reason for that? For example, you all are the students of commerce or management background, I suppose, or some of the other students also. So means if you have, for example, if I have 6 subjects in BCom final year, and one of the subject, if I qualify from Swayam platform and I enrolled in Swayam platform, I qualified the exam, got the certificate from the Swayam, and credits are being transferred by the host university, then your job is done. You need not to appear again in your normal exam. So that's a distinction which the Swayam has, you know. So credit transfer is a wonderful point of distinction. So you can see that I'm also one of the expert in one paper of the organization behavior. So I am the coordinator of the course, co-coordinator of the course. Professor A.K. Sehajpal from Punjab University is the coordinator of the course. And we have already delivered our course in 2 cycles. In the first cycle, when the Government of India initiated Swayam, so I had the highest enrollment in my course. More than 3,500 students were enrolled in my course, right? So we have already run this course in 2 cycles, and this course is providing by the Punjab University, Chandigarh, and the credits have been transferred who qualified the paper also, right? So this
Sir,
is
could you
the
please share your screen? Yeah, you're not able to see your screen. The
okay,
past
okay,
one
okay.
slide.
It's visible
Yes,
now.
sir.
It's
It's
visible now.
visible.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes, sir.
visible.
Yes, sir. Yes,
To
sir.
all
It
the
is
participants, the
visible.
screen is visible. Please see.
No, sir.
Yes,
I'm not able to see the screen.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm just trying again. It is visible now.
yes, now is visible.
Is it visible to everybody? Please reply.
No, sir.
N-
No, sir.
no,
Yes,
sir. No, sir.
So let me try again. Let me try again.
Friends, required to go to the right hand side of the screen and click where the PPT is. The problem is that it is visible to most of them, but go to the screen and then look into it.
Actually, there must be some tiles, and when you will click on the arrowhead, the screen will be at your top. You must have seen the tiles. And if you are seeing me through phone, so sometime tiles नीचे चले जाती हैं, तो आप उनको ऊपर लेके आओ, then click on the screen, तो screen सामने visible हो जाएगी. So please give me your inputs. It is visible now.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
So may I proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, fine. So please give me your inputs. Should I again repeat repeat the slide of Swayam? Is there any need to repeat the this slide again?
No,
So
sir, you
I'm
can just show your module.
okay. Okay, fine. So I'm moving further. So as I explained you, so organization behavior, I have also acted as a course co-coordinator of organization behavior, and
No,
you
sir.
will be glad to know. I will be showing you in my next slide. Minister HRD tweeted a couple of days back, and UGC also issued a letter for the selected PG and UG courses for the coming semester and to every university, right? So our course is also one of them, and my course is a PG course, and even the undergraduate students can also get the benefit of the same, right? So I'm showing you the book which at the time of launching the course, the MHRD, they had given a brief about our course and brief also described the brief profile, right? So as I discussed with you, Mr. HRD tweeted a couple of days back and also requested the students that MOOCs are now offered by the SWAYAM are eligible for credit mobility. So I explained you already that even in the colleges earlier, the university teachers and students, they were just availing the benefit of MOOCs. But now Minister HRD requesting to colleges also that they should encourage their students to enroll in the MOOCs, and so that their students should get the benefit of online learning. So he has already written that 82 PG and 82 UG and 42 PG non-engineering MOOCs courses they are going to offer from July 2020 semester on SWAYAM, and these courses can be easily accessible on the SWAYAM platform. So when you will go to the SWAYAM platform, my course will be available in the evening or by the tomorrow, and you have to enroll first. As you can see that the starting date is 6th of July 2020 and end date of the course is 31st August to 2020, and the exam date is 14th December or 15th December depending upon the enrollment of the students, right? So if you want to enroll in the course, you have to go to the SWAYAM portal and then select the course and fill your forms. So thank you very much for your patient learning. Wish you a happy learning in future also. For any queries or any comments, you can contact me on vkfzr@hotmail.com. I'm also available on LinkedIn and Twitter. My LinkedIn profile is linkedin.com/in/Vishal Kumar space MAU, and my Twitter handle account is @VKFZR. So before leaving, I would like that you should give me your feedback. Your feedback will be preserved with me. You can give me the feedback again bit.ly_VK /VK_feedback. I repeat, bit.ly/VK_feedback. So I would be interested to have your feedback. So best of my greetings from my side and my best wishes. Thank you so much.
Now session is open for question answer. So
Yeah.
if anybody wish to have any question or query, they are most welcome.
Sir, I have a question. Not a question. I just want some information from
Yeah.
you, sir.
Please,
Sir,
please.
actually, few weeks back, I have joined one course on SWAYAM. That is
Okay.
for economics, and that is, I think, by the IIM Bangalore. But when I was looking for some other subjects like taxation, so there are no such courses. And we have in final year a particular subject for taxation. So, do you think next semester such courses will be available for the students?
So for which what was the name of the course? Please say.
Sir, I want to ask you, actually when I have explored the courses on SWAYAM portal, I was able to find courses on maybe management, OB, project management, economics. but I was not
Right.
able to identify or find
You were not able to see the course after
on
some time or
taxation.
after some day.
On
Yeah,
taxation, there was no
I'm
course.
telling you, what is the problem.
Hmm.
Actually, earlier when the government of India just started this initiative, the students could enroll anytime during the course. Even some students, I am just sharing you my experience. Even some students, when first time our course was offered, they joined the course only before 1 week, right? So
Okay.
joining the course only before 1 week from the paper means the student is only interested to have the certificate. Since I have already explained you that whatever the courses are providing, because it doesn't mean that if you have enrolled in any course on Swayam portal, you are bound to appear for the exam. Some of the courses we may join only for the sake of knowledge also, right? So, but at the same, if you will appear in the proctored exam, you would definitely get the certificate, and
Okay.
certificate from the joint efforts, certificate from the joint collaboration of the Ministry of HRD and the concerned university, which is the host university, right? So
Mhm.
this is the big distinction of the SWAYAM. And I'm telling you, when the students joined the course only before 1 week, so ultimately during the next semester, MHRD changed some guidelines, and they fix up the dates. They fix up the dates for the upcoming semester. Like I have shared with you that my course will be starting on 6th of July, and the end date of the course is 31st August, right? And the exam date is 14th or 15th December. Fine. So everything is transparent and fixed now. If you want to start the course, you will have to enroll before starting the course. After starting the course, they may open the enrollment for some time. After 1 week or 10 days or 15 days, they close the instructor close the enrollment, and sometime the MHRD tell us to stop the enrollment. So that is the only reason maybe the course would be available for the upcoming semester, because whatever the courses are provided by the MHRD. These are all approved courses, approved by the MHRD. All the instructors, all the professors, they are approved by the MHRD. No any other person can provide the course on the Swayam platform, right? So if that particular, because UGC has already issued a list of 82 UG courses and 42 PG courses, so everything is transparent. If you want to join any of the UG course or any of the PG course, again the enrollment has been started. You enroll in the course, and then you will be able to join. I hope I will be able to answer you. I have hello,
Thank you, sir. Anji, thank you, sir.
are you listening me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is only the reason you are not able to see the course again.
Fine, fine, sir. Fine.
Yeah, anybody else, please?
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah,
Uh, First of all, sir, good afternoon. My name is Simarpreet Singh.
very nice.
Uh, yeah, sir, how many hours, sir, do you expect that we need to spend on online coursework or each day or in each week?
Very nice. Actually, Simar, it's a very good question. And based on the learning which you have acquired during my lecture, already I have explained that MOOCs courses are self-paced courses. MOOCs courses are self-paced courses. Self-paced courses are those courses which are designed according to the need of the students, which are flexible, which are flexible. No doubt. For example, I am telling you that the starting date of my course is 6 July and ending date is 31st August. So it is a 15 weeks and 4 credit course, right? So within such week, you can anytime watch the video. But timeline is there because assignments will also be provided by the instructor, and you have to complete those assignments, and assignments will have to be evaluated by the instructor. So nowadays timeline is also available, but because of only to evaluate what you have gained from the course, right, Simar?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's
Thank you so
fine.
much, sir.
That's fine.
Any other question? Sir, there is a question from a student because they are saying normally in December we have university exams, and
Okay,
in case there is a clash between these dates,
okay.
then students should go for which exam?
Uh, you are saying that the exam date of the students is clashing with the exam date
Yes,
of the SWAYAM.
yes, sir.
Most of the times, the SWAYAM the team which is working at the back end of the SWAYAM, they generally decide the dates, keeping in consideration the examination dates of the universities, right?
Okay,
So if
fine.
the dates of the examination are clashing, so they would have changed it, I think.
Fine.
They will have to change, and they are working on it very seriously, right?
Okay, fine, fine. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Any other questions? Any query from the participant side?
Sir, I have a question
Yeah,
that there are Indian MOOCs as well as foreign MOOCs, as you said, that Coursera is also
good,
there, SWAYAM is also
good.
there. So, which one is the best, platform to
Actually,
go for online studies?
please repeat your name.
It's Diksha Shankar.
Okay, Diksha, actually, there is no any problem. There is no any problem between the Coursera course and course from the SWAYAM. Depends on for which purpose you are pursuing the course. If you want to pursue the course for the purpose of getting the credit mobility from your university, right? So SWAYAM is the preferred destination for that, right? Swayam is the preferred destination. And Swayam courses, I'm just telling you, the course is a digital marketing course which have been designed by my friend Dr. Tejinder Pal Singh from Punjab University, Chandigarh. Throughout the world, whatever the courses are offering by the Coursera or Udacity or Udemy, this course, ranked at number 8th out of the all
Hello.
out of the world, right? So
Hello.
Indian MOOCs are also, getting the pace, and students, they are preferring to pursue the courses from the SWAYAM portal because most of the innovative professors, most of the senior professors from the government universities or from the uh, you know uh, good universities, they are engaging those people to deliberate the course, and there is no such distinction that the course from the Coursera is different from the course from the SWAYAM. So if it all depends upon your nature of interest. What for what purpose you want to pursue your course.
Thank you, sir.
And moreover, I am just adding to my answer that in SWAYAM portal there are certain uh, uh, nowadays it is a SWAYAM 2 portal, and in SWAYAM 2 portal, whatever the courses we are delivering, these all are basis on the LCM model. LCM model is a learner centric MOOCs. So in learner centric MOOCs, major focus have been given on the learning by doing purpose, means activities are there, and feedback system is very important in that. And there are certain local chapters also which are created by the universities, host universities. So I think these are more beneficial as compared to the foreign MOOCs, right?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes, please.
Sir, this side Abhishek Saxena, research
Yes,
scholar
yeah,
from Jivaji University.
right.
As I mentioned, I am research scholar
Yeah,
pursuing
yeah, yeah.
PhD in management course. So,
Okay.
yeah, is there any additional course I can do from SWAYAM so that it will help me in my...
Yeah. I have already explained that Swayam is a platform, and there are 7 to 9 national coordinators. So NITR is responsible for the courses, for refresher courses, and there are certain other courses also which are catering to the need of the researchers, which are catering to the needs of the scholars. You must visit the Swayam, and the catalog is there. You just fill
log
some
into?
keyword, you just fill some keywords and get the desirable course, right?
Correct, sir. Correct. Thank you.
Okay.
Shalji, there is one query from the student in the chat box. Can the
Yes.
school students also pursue the SWAYAM program?
Yes, National Institute of Open Schooling is the national coordinator for this. NCRT is the national coordinator of this, and there are many courses for the school students. That is why India is, growing like anything in the world. We are not nowadays. We are at the back end. We are at the forefront nowadays. So for the school students, for the undergraduate students, for the postgraduate students, for the researchers, we have a number of courses catering to the needs of the students, right? So you can find the courses for students also.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
It was a great session indeed, sir. We learned a lot, and I
Thank you so
know
much,
the
Ajay ji.
students has students has benefited a lot out of these deliberations. Naturally, it is the starting of the learning. Once
Yeah.
we are ready or we are having an idea, we always develop it. They will
Yeah.
be gaining a lot. And
Yeah.
on the behalf of Shri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management, I propose a vote of thanks for your great lecture.
Thank
We
you so
learned
much.
a lot out of the tool you are using and the way you are delivering
Actually,
the
with
lecture.
the
It was
limited
great.
resources, right, it would have a different impact if we were, in the classroom. Physical interaction much more beneficial at that moment. But I have tried my level best with the help of certain activities to deliver my students the best of the things which I could share with them.
It's a great, sir. It's a great learning experience. And we will be waiting for the next session to be held tomorrow for the faculty. Thanks a lot.
Right. Thank you
Thanks.
so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. From the bottom of my heart and on behalf of all the participants, again, I wish to say thank you to you, because altogether this was a new experience for me also.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Because sir, till now I think I have attended around 15 or 16 webinars,
Right,
and
right.
the way you have incorporated all the activities in your this
Session.
content, this was
Yeah.
something amazing.
Hello.
I've never
Right, right.
seen this thing. So
Thank you so much.
on behalf of everybody, I once again congratulate you on your successful completion, and we are
Thank
very
you, ma'am.
lucky to have you here with us. So we'll be
Right.
looking
Thank you so
forward
much.
to another session with you, sir, tomorrow.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.